Good morning, students. So today I will teach you the subject biology of class 8. We are going to discuss. So in this, we will discuss chapter 1, and you already this chapter has been divided into two parts. So today we are going to discuss part 2 of this chapter. So the topic which we are discussing, that is, the chapter name is transport of food and minerals in plants. So the topics which we will discuss in this part 2 of chapter 1 are absorption of water, condension of water and minerals in plants, transpiration, factors affecting the rate of transpiration, importance of transpiration in plants, importance of minerals in plant. So the first topic is absorption of water. Root hairs absorb water from the soil by the process of osmosis. So here are some part of that. First part is osmosis in plants. The concentration of water molecules is higher in the surrounding soil than that inside the root hair cells. So the water from the soil is absorbed by the root hairs. The membrane of the living cell of root hairs are selective permeable in nature, which tend to allow the passage for only certain substance and restrict the passage for other. Now the second is absorption of minerals. Water absorbed by the root hair contains different type of minerals like calcium, potassium, and nitrogen. These minerals are needed by plants and absorbed by the roots through diffusion and active transport. So now first we will discuss, that is, diffusion in plants. Soil water move into the root hairs by a simple process called diffusion. It is a process in which the molecules move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration. In plants, when the concentration of mineral molecule is higher in the soil water than that inside the root hair, the root hairs absorb mineral molecules by the process of diffusion. Now the next is active transport. The movement of minerals molecule from a lower concentration to a higher concentration by utilizing energy is called active transport. The root hairs absorb minerals such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium along with water from the soil. This required energy is obtained by the cell of the root hairs through respiration. Now the next topic is condension of water and minerals in plants. So the first of all, we will discuss what is condension, or they can ask the question definition of condension. So the transport of substance from one part of a plant to another is called condension. The root absorb water and minerals from the soil, which need to be conducted by to other part of the plant. The condension of water and minerals absorbed by the root can be explained in terms of essence of sap and root pressure. So now first we will discuss that is the ascent of sap. Once the mineral dissolve in water are absorbed, they move from the outer layer of the epidermis to the cortex and then to the xylem. The xylem is mainly composed of vessels and tracheids, which are long, hollow, and cylindrical in shape. These xylem elements join end to end and form a system of pipeline that finally connect the root to the leaves. The process of upward condension of water of cell sap from the root to the other part of the plant against gravity is called ascent of sap. Now the next is root pressure. The continuous inflow of absorbed water by the root hairs causes an accumulation of mineral salt in the xylem, as a result of which the concentration of water gets reduced in the xylem. Due to continuous inflow of water, a pressure develops in the root which help the upward movement of plant sap and is called root pressure. Now next is transpiration. The plant root grow into the soil to absorb water and minerals. Some of the absorbed water is used by the plant in photosynthesis and the rest is returned to the atmosphere by transpiration in the form of water vapor. Water in the form of vapor constantly escape from the lower surface of the leaves through the stomata. Now the definition of transpiration: the process of loss of water in form of water vapor through the leaves and aerial part of the plant is called transpiration. There is a direct relationship between absorption and transpiration of water. As the water is lost through transpiration, more water is absorbed as more water is required. Now the next is factors affecting the rate of transpiration. So these are temperature, relative humidity, wind, light, available soil, water. So now we are going to discuss first one, that is temperature. The rate of transpiration goes up as the temperature increases. On hot days, water evaporates more quickly from the leaves of a plant than it does on a cold day. Now next is relative humidity. As the relative humidity of the air surrounding the plant rises, the transpiration rate falls. The dry air carries away more water than the saturated air because it is already laden with moisture. This is the way the loss of water by transpiration is very little in rains. The higher is the humidity of air, the lower is the rate of transpiration. Now next is wind. If there is no wind, the moisture laden air around the leaf may not move away, thus raising the humidity of the air. Strong wind will take away the moist air more quickly and help to increase the rate of transpiration. Now the next is light. Light is another important factor of transpiration as it regulates the opening and closing of stomata. At night, the rate of transpiration is almost stopped because the stomata are closed, while in daytime it is much higher because the stomata are open. Then this last one, available soil water. The available soil water produce indirect effect on the rate of transpiration because the deficiency in water supply causes the soil solution to become more concentrated. If there is less uptake of water by root, the guard cells become soft, closing the stomata, and the rate of transpiration is decreased. Now, importance of transpiration in plants. Cooling effect. Then next topic, intake of minerals and elimination of excess water. So now we will discuss first part of this cooling effect. As a result of transpiration in hot summer, plants cool themselves as considerable amount of latent heat is lost to convert water into vapor. Next is intake of minerals. The greater the transpiration, the greater is the rate of absorption of water from the soil. Absorption of water help in intake of dissolved minerals from the soil. Elimination of excess water. Roots of plant continuously absorb water from the soil. Only 1% water is used by the plant for photosynthesis, while the excess water is lost by transpiration. Next is importance of minerals in plants. Plant need some minerals for their growth and development. They are called plant nutrients. So now next is type of plant nutrients. Plant based on the quantity in which they are required. Plant nutrients are divided into two types: micronutrient and macronutrient. So micronutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. In short, we can say as NPK, while micronutrient that are iron, magnesium, zinc. So this much only in this chapter. One table is also there in your book on page number 13. So that is important plant nutrient, their functions and their deficiency disease has been explained all together. So that table is important. You can go through that. So this much only in this chapter. Thank you, students.